14th of February 1980, the first part of Doctor Who and the Star Beast, written by Pat Mills and John Wagner, was published in the pages of Doctor Who Weekly and ran up until the 3rd of April that same year. This 4th Doctor comic book story began with Beep the Meep crashing his ship as he was pursued by Wrath Warriors, where he is then found by schoolchildren Sharon and Fudge. The Doctor follows the flames of the Neutron Drive Star Cruiser and investigates, unaware that he is leading the Wrath Warriors directly to Beep the Meep. After he has sent Beep the Meep with Sharon for safety, the Doctor learns from the Wrath Warriors that Beep the Meep is being hunted by them for unspeakable crimes. Taking the Wrath Warriors with him, the Doctor finds Sharon and the locals have been turned into zombie drones by the radiation of the Black Star Drive, and Beep the Meep has made them work to repair the ship for a star jump from Earth. The Doctor, along with Black Castle and the workers, are caught in the star jump. The story ends with the Doctor returning the workers to Earth in the TARDIS, and the Wrath Warriors capturing Beep the Meep. But what does this obscure Doctor Who comic book story have to do with the 60th anniversary specials? Okay, so the reason this comic book story is so significant to this episode, this first special of the 60th anniversary special, is that from the most recent titles teaser trailer that we've got, we know that this special is going to be called The Star Beast, which obviously is the same name as that comic book story. And from this title and some of the footage that we've seen in this trailer and previous trailers, I think it's safe to assume that this episode is going to be a fairly faithful adaptation of that original comic book story, obviously just with different characters and a few minor tweaks, which is something that I'm going to get into a little bit later on in this video. Now, obviously, we still think that all of these episodes for the 60th anniversary specials are going to be written by Russell T Davies, which is a little bit different to previous adaptations where Russell's got the original writer to adapt their original story into an episode of Doctor Who, and they have writing credit on that episode. But I think the original writers, that being Pat Mills and John Wagner, are more likely to still be credited in the end credits, just not for the episode itself. And this can be further backed up by the fact that David Tennant has recently said that the original writers of the comic book story were on set and came to visit set to see what it looked like. Now, speaking of being on set, the first bit of public filming we ever saw, which was in Camden Market with David Tennant and Catherine Tate, appears to be for this episode. And we also know from this filming and from official announcements in Doctor Who magazine that Rachel Talalay will be directing this episode, and she's known for directing a lot of the significant Peter Capaldi era episodes, and honestly some of the best looking ones, so that's really exciting to see her returning to direct one of the episodes of these specials. But from this public filming, we also know that not only David Tennant and Catherine Tate will be returning, but we'll also be seeing the return of Sylvia Noble, played by Jacqueline King, Sean Temple, played by Carl Collins, and Wilfred Mott, played by Bernard Cribbins, in what's probably going to be his last role. Now, most of these can be seen in the trailers as well, besides Bernard Cribbins as Wilfred Mott, although you can sort of see him in the titles teaser, as you can see the top of his hat. But there's also some more casting that we need to talk about for probably this episode, but at least the specials in general. The first of which being Yasmin Finney's Rose, who is definitely going to be in this episode, and she's been speculated to be playing Donna and Sean's daughter, so she's going to be Rose Temple Noble. We also know that Ruth Madley will be playing a role as Shirley Ann Bingham, and she's likely to appear in this episode as she appears to be connected to UNIT in some way. Speaking of UNIT, we also know of a couple other UNIT members that have been cast, the first of which is Major Singh, who's played by Renak Patani, who can be seen in the trailers fighting the Wrath Warriors on what is assumed to be the street that Donna's house is on. And we also know of another UNIT character called Colonel Chan, who is played by Jamie Hayden, sometimes known as Jamie Cho, and he's the UNIT character that can be seen in the ident teasers with the glowing eyes, who I previously speculated is being hypnotized by Beep the Meep's Black Star Drive to help repair Beep the Meep's ship. And the final bit of casting that I feel the need to talk about is that it's rumored that Miriam Margolyes will be voicing Beep the Meep in this special, which I previously talked about in another video. But basically, Beep the Meep's costume has been spotted on set for one of the public filmings before that character was even seen in the trailers, and it has also been mentioned that a guest actor was recording some ADR, so some people have speculated that is Miriam Margolyes doing Beep the Meep's voice. And if you hear Beep the Meep in the couple of shots that we've seen of him in the trailers, it does sound very similar to Miriam Margolyes' voice. Based on everything we know and the original comic book storyline, this is how I think the plot of the Star Beast is going to go. After the 14th Doctor lands in Camden Market, he meets Rose and probably bumps into Donna too. They both watch Beep the Meep's ship crash, with Beep the Meep escaping in his escape pod. He is then at some point found by Rose and her friends, with Rose bringing Beep the Meep to her home to look after him. At some point, the Wrath Warriors will discover Beep the Meep's location, where UNIT will fight with the Wrath Warriors, giving Beep the Meep a chance to escape. He will then likely return to his crashed ship and turn UNIT soldiers into zombie drones using his Black Star Drive, forcing them to help repair his ship. Whilst this is happening, the Doctor will likely learn from the Wrath Warriors that Beep the Meep is actually evil, and somehow he will stop Beep the Meep, probably by allowing the Wrath Warriors to arrest him. But so far, that's everything we know about Special 1, the Star Beast. Make sure to subscribe to this channel, because in the future, I'm going to do breakdowns of what we know for the other two specials, Wild Blue Yonder and the Giggle, so you don't want to miss those.